Happy Sunday, Flosstube. Welcome to Stitching with Nicole. Sunday, May the 3rd. Tomorrow, May the 4th be with you. And I'm back for my weekly stitching update and craft room update. Good news, I have not done anything that I was going to do last week. I have done a lot of things, but none of those things. So, I don't know. Can you even see mess on the floor here, over here? Ooh, good news. Good news, good news. This, whoops, right here, reorganize that. Still working on my floss wall, and all that good stuff. And we're going to talk about what I stitched this week, what I finished. I have a new solution for extra hanging storage in the closet. I'm going to try to get to that in this video. But let's talk stitching, shall we? So welcome to another Flosstube episode, Flosstube 144. So happy to see you guys here for another weekly stitching update. So I filmed this on Sunday, but this is actually Monday, May the 4th be with you. I know I joked about that, but I just was way too tired. I actually fell asleep for a little bit. Fun fact. And so I just now remembered I didn't record the outro for this, nor have I edited the video. So, that is kind of all of that. I like to just be real with you and behind the scenes. I hope you enjoy today's video. I spent a lot of my weekend at my nephew's baseball games. He had a baseball tournament here, literally just down the street from where I live. So it was lovely to be able to go hang out with my brother and my nephew. Brendan went with me. Had a really good time. They did lose kind of early this morning. They played first thing, so they went home. But it's great to watch him play and just great to spend time with family. So that was fantastic. I always like to start by letting you guys know that some of the links provided down in the description box are affiliate links, which means I do earn a small commission if you choose to shop through those links at no extra cost to you. I also want to let you guys know that I do have a Buy Me a Coffee link down in the description, and I use that to pay for new filming equipment, framing, all of that kinds of good stuff, and it's never expected, always appreciated. I would like to thank the following ladies for your donations last week: Tracy, Susan, Robin, Ellen, and Karen. Thank you guys so much. So kind of you. And again, I really appreciate it. I have several pieces that I will be having framed in upcoming weeks, so I definitely know that I will be using some of that to go towards those new pieces. I always like to let you guys kind of know what you can expect to see in my weekly episodes. So this week I have 2 FFOs to share with you. I also have a finish to share. Lots of WIP progress, some new starts. We're going to talk about Christmas WIPGO, where I'm at with the April picks, and of course, what are the May picks since it is May now. I have an updated WIPGO tracker for you. We will talk about Spring Mingle. It's just a couple of weeks away now. Kits were restocked this last week. There are a few still left. If you have been looking for a kit for my NEEDLEBUG needlebook class, go grab it now. If you were waiting to sign up to see if you could grab a kit, now is your chance. I will have a link to that down in the description below. If you're just coming to hang out for Spring Mingle virtual weekend, grab your Spring Mingle ticket. Would love to see you in the virtual stitch rooms, the meet and greets, classes if you choose to take them, all kinds of fun things happening. So definitely grab your Spring Mingle ticket. I have a little Enable Vision, some goodies that came from Fat Quarter Shop that I'm excited to share with you. And of course, get organized with Nichol. We're going to talk about moving my linen down here, and hopefully what I purchased is going to work in the closet. I'm going to show you that. I'm going to show you I am relabeling my linen. I've printed labels, and I'm still working on printing some. And then I found some really cool dividers. I'm still using the hanging bags. I absolutely love the hanging bags. I think the hanging bags are fantastic because I can see what I have. And so I have them all like that. I've worked on reorganizing them by company, but then by company either in color or neutrals, because that's generally how I look for my linen. So I will talk a little bit more about that. I also got a little sun this weekend. I'm super, super fair, and I sunburn so easily. So I'm not sunburnt, but I can definitely tell I got a little sun. My nose are a little pink. My arms are a little pink. It's a little warm out there. Okay, let's dive into this week's episode. So the first thing I want to share in one of my FFOs is I had finished stitching my March wordplay a couple of weeks ago, and I wanted to finish it. I'm working on these all year long. My goal is to have all of them done. So far I have January and March. Never got back to April's, but I am going to work on it, and I'm going to start May this month, but that's not my priority at the moment. But you know what? I like to concentrate on what I do get done. So I finished this very much like the January one, and very much like Brenda Gervais' pattern. And just as a little reminder, here's what that looks like. I did go for a little bit brighter green. It kind of matches some of the green Gentle Arts threads in here, but you know, the safety pins holding it on, completely removable. The rusty jingle bells sewn onto the bottom. What I did for mine is I do make a little pocket. So I made a pocket for this one as well. And this one has a little pocket here. These are Tim Holtz fabrics. I have my same little charm and button that I did for January, and I just pin that right here in the pocket, and then I can stick little greenery, little flowers, other little things in the back, or a little card if I wanted to, but all of that in there. I'm really loving customizing my little pillows with that 2026. I think that might kind of be the thing. You get a big package of them when you get them, and I do like that as kind of denoting when things get finished. So super, super cute. Absolutely love this. It turned out fantastic. I did open mine, or leave an opening down here that I blind stitched shut and then sewed on the bells. Last time I kind of did it janky. It does not matter. I turned it out, but I turned it out inside of here, and it was a pain. Learned from my mistake, so didn't do that again, but super excited. Completely stuffed with wool roving, and it's stuffed very firmly, as you can see, and I just love it. Love, love, love. I'm so excited to get all of these done. So my March wordplay from With Thy Needle and Thread, fully finished, fully FFO'd into this darling little hanging pillow. And again, you can easily take this off, or you could even just kind of, you know, lay it in here and tuck it into a bowl or display if you don't want it to be hanging. But just really think it's so cute and fun. My next FFO this week was my bonus project for the Patriotic Pairs Stitch Along. So the Patriotic Pairs Stitch Along really wrapped up the previous week with the finishing tutorial for the patriotic pears, which I shared in last week's Flosstube. I had a bonus project, and that is this adorable quilted pear that I made from postage stamp size quilt scraps. And these are all some of my favorite Tim Holtz scraps of fabric in red, white, and blue. It is sized just slightly bigger than the patriotic pears. I have a full template for the pear size, as well as the bottom piece and the stem, and there are leaves in my template. However, my leaves were made by using my cheeky apple die felt stitch and create die from Spellbinders. So I die cut the felt and stitched it, and I'm obsessed. I kind of want to go back and do all of my pears with these little leaves like this because I think they're so stinking cute. Then I do have a little tag on here that I created, and there is a download, a free download for this as well over on my blog. It's in the right sidebar of my blog down at the very bottom. You can click it and grab the link if you would like to stitch it, and I share how I made it into a tag in that video tutorial that I'm going to link for you guys right here. But you can use it for a bag tag. You could make it a little label for a project bag. You could stitch it up and add it to something else. Lots of fun things to do with it, but I made it, of course, into a little tag. It's backed with another scrap of Tim Holtz fabric. I added a little memo pin in here to tuck it in so it's completely removable. And I made a bow with the 141 Design bow making tool. It's a triple bow, and some of the silk ribbon from my shop. All of those links can be found in the finishing tutorial for this, but I, again, completely obsessed with these colors. All three sides of my pear are the quilted panel, and I share exactly the size of panel that I made for this, how I quilted it, and then how I pieced it all together to make this adorable little bonus pear that you can use to embellish either with your patriotic pears or on its own. And just want to say a huge thank you to everyone who's left such nice comments on this design. I had the best time putting this together. Let's talk finishes, and to preface this, I want to say that my friend Jessica, Sweetwater Stitcher, and I are hosting a kind of informal SAL during the month of May called Tomato SAL. It's a play on the word, obviously, tomato, but we thought it would be fun. We both were inspired to stitch tomato charts, and we thought it might be fun, and you guys might want to join in. I have picked some of my favorite tomato charts to stitch throughout the month of May, and you can use the hashtag right here that I'm showing on the screen. You can tag Jessica and myself, and we would love to see your tomato stitching. I'm going to share I was able to start and finish a tomato stitch minus the extra embellishments, but I kind of count those as the FFO part of this, and I will be sharing that with you guys next week. So I was able to finish stitching I Collect from With Thy Needle and Thread in about 2 evenings. I had shown this chart and the Keeper of the Pins from With Thy Needle and Thread last week. Those are a couple of the tomato charts that I'm going to stitch up throughout the month of May, and I got this stitched right up, all of the called for colors. I'm stitching on 40 count Vintage Country Mocha, 1 strand over 2. These are some long stitches over the spools instead of cross stitches, and obviously some straight stitches here as well. The only thing I didn't add, of course, is like some extra decorative pins and the vintage buttons. I consider the buttons part of the FFO process, and I'll add all of that when I FFO this, hopefully next week is my plan right now. But I absolutely love this and cannot wait to get this one done. The call for fabric for this was 40 count straw by Weeks Dye Works. but I chose to do 40 count vintage country mocha. I talked about this last week, that I'm doing all the keeper of the pins on the called for 36 count vintage country mocha. And so I decided, since all of these kind of have a very similar look, I wanted to do them all on the same fabric, but I did use the called for count instead of the 36 for this. So this is I Collect by With Thy Needle and Thread. Highly recommend if you are looking for a fun tomato chart that will stitch up quickly. It's so cute, and I cannot wait to get my buttons added to it and get this finished into a fun little pillow to add to my decor. I think at the end of May, I should definitely come back and see what all I finished and pull all of those together for you guys, and maybe re-show the couple of other things that I shared with you, the previous finishes from last week, as it's really fun to look at all of those things. And that is it for my finishes this week. Let's talk WIPs, and I'm going to talk about the Tomato SAL WIPs first with my tomato stitching. I showed this last week. I still need to put my little straight stitches and beads in here. I'm going to do that this week. And then this is my 36 count vintage country mocha. So this is the book I'm working from. It is Keeper of the Pins by With Thy Needle and Thread. And this week I am working on the Sewing Bird. I believe that's what this one's called. No, yes, the Sewing Bird. I am correct. Here, let me see. Here is a little better close-up picture. There's some beading and things on this one as well. And here is where I'm at on this one. Now, I was still stitching, so I have my needle in here. I do want to mention, so I obviously did my Sewing Bird. I have not done the little pin cushion that goes on top with the beads yet, but I've got my little hanging strawberry, and I haven't done the back stitching in the eye. Otherwise, the bird is done. And then I started, and also the little clamp from the Sewing Bird. I started on the spool, and I have the top of the spool, and I started on the bottom of the spool. I haven't gone to see if there's a correction on Brenda's website, and maybe this is how she intended it, but these two sides of this top of the spool are equal and even. The bottom of the spool, this side is the same as this, but this side sticks out one, and I am wondering if that's wrong. I'm not going to stitch it that way. In fact, I pulled it out. I started and I was like, hey, this is looking funny. So I pulled it out, and I'm going to restitch that before I fill in with all of the, I want to say eggshell. Yes. For the spool piece, but I anticipate an evening of stitching, of good stitching, and I should have this one done. So really excited about that. So beautiful. This is Mountain Mist. Fun little fact to make, even though I don't know if the wing, you can kind of see it. You can really see it in this one. The whole bird is Mountain Mist. The majority of the bird is 1 strand over 2. The wings, though, are 2 strands over 2 to make them stand out a little bit more. There you can see it a little bit better. Super, super pretty. So that's where I am on Keeper of the Pins. My goal is to have these two completely finished next week, as well as I Collect. Next up, this is my first start for Market Mania 2026, hosted by Stitch and Gem, and it also serves for my tomato stitching. There's an awesome tomato here. There's all the tomatoes here and here. This is a new release from Brenda Gervais for Market 2026 called With Needle and Thread. I'm sure you've seen it everywhere. My friend Chantal of 141 Design has a gorgeous finish of this. And there's my big start. So this is my start. I am stitching on the called for 36 count Legacy by Picture This Plus, and I'm using all of the called for threads and absolutely love it. This is literally like an hour and a half maybe of stitching, and it's only an hour and a half because I was really tired. I started this I actually started this on the 2nd, not on the 1st, and I started it after being outside in the hot sun for hours watching my nephew's baseball games, and I fell asleep. So I did not get that much. I was a slow stitcher. I was super, super tired, but I'm excited to work on this more this week. I love this piece. It is so beautiful, and I'm excited to see it come to life on this fabric. And again, this is 36 count Legacy, called for by Picture This Plus. All of the called for floss for this one. My next WIP is One Nation by Bygone Stitches, and I had mentioned last week that I want you to keep me accountable. I am going to share progress each week until this bad boy is done. It is a big undertaking. So this week, I'm going to start over here on the left. Last week, I had shared that I had started this blue border over here. I finished and I got to where my stitch ends over here, so I made sure that I have plenty of room on both ends of this. And I started down a little bit, and I'm just kind of double checking myself working on the blue. This week, I'm going to do my best to finish up this blue row here. And then I want to finish outlining the first white stripe in my flag. You can see I got a lot of it done here. So I had just a little bit left to stitch of Massachusetts. So I finished stitching that. And I am filling in the white. I have a little bit left, maybe one more strand I hope would make that one. I did start around the bottom here, and I started this. So my goal this week is to finish stitching the white around that and bring this blue part of the border over. Not going to worry about filling in the white quite yet, and I know I have some blue stitches that go around this that will need to be done, but again, I'm not going to worry about that quite yet either. I'm trying to go in manageable chunks. So that's where I'm at on One Nation by Bygone Stitches. I absolutely love this piece so, so much, and I'll hold it up because it's so big it's hard to show on the camera, and it's still rolled up because I do stitch in hand. So I just kind of ironed this top part to show you. Look how pretty it's looking. Absolutely going to be a treasure. And I am stitching this on 36 count Ale by Picture This Plus, 1 strand over 2 with the called for colors of floss. This is the called for fabric, but I'm using 36. I think the model was stitched on 28, yes. And I'm stitching mine on 36, so it'll be quite a bit smaller, even though it's still very big. And these are the called for colors: Antique Lace, Cupid, and Blacksmith Blue. And they're just perfection. So, so pretty. The stitch count for this it's big. 400 by 210. And I love every little thing about it. Let's talk Christmas WIPGO April 1st. So WIPs. This is kind of part of the WIPs, and then we'll talk about what's up for May. Not very much progress happened here, you guys. And the reason being, well, one of them I had to start. I have already learned something about myself. I'm sticking with my plan for this year, but I had way too many pieces that were not started for Christmas. So it means I had to start things, and I just really don't want to. That is all it comes down to. I wish I was just picking up true WIPs, but I'm learning some stuff. So our mid-year check-in, I definitely will have some thoughts on that. But regardless, my calls for April were Whitaker from Stacy Nash, which is her animal cracker, and I have a start here on his head. Now, I had hoped to have the whole thing outlined, and I will tell you, I made a counting error. It still looks like I have an error, but I think it's only because I filled in the white here. And it matched up, so I'm sure it's not. I'm sure once I get this, it'll look more even. But I was off a half a stitch, like right here. So I ended up, and I had like all of this. I had to pull all this and this all out, and then I had to start filling in to find the mistake because it wasn't glaring obvious. There was one linen thread over here that's really thin. But I found it, I fixed it, and so I have the outline of Whitaker's head. That's it. I am stitching him on 36 count Milk and Tea by Color and Cotton with all of the called for Gentle Arts threads. So only roasted marshmallow so far. And he started now. That's what I have to say about that. Whitaker is started. So I'm going to, again, count that as a win. As far as WIP go, I'm getting these things started. We'll see what happens in holiday season, how much stitching I get for these. The other thing I stitched on also had a half stitch counting error. So I had hoped to have a lot of progress on A Merry Gentleman by Plum Street Sampler. This was one of my April calls. And as I started stitching, and I will show you where I got to. So I decided to fill in his mitten and to fill in his, is it a clarinet maybe? Not sure. Anyway, I started this, and then I started to fill in the sleeve of his coat. And it wasn't matching up to what I already had, which was part of the bag here. And then I had part of the branch from when I picked this up a long time ago. And it wasn't matching up. Come to find out, I was a half stitch off somewhere here and had based this on that. So I ended up ripping all of that out. So I don't have stitching progress so much as to show you as frogging progress. Great, isn't it? But at least it's correct now. And that was something I had stitched like the first time I ever picked this up. It really kind of bummed me out. So I corrected it and then corrected the sleeve and started stitching the bag back in because I think I had this whole part of the bag. And I thought, you know what? I have to put it down for a while. I like to leave my pieces when I find a mistake corrected. Like I like to frog it out, but sometimes it takes me a little bit to want to pick it up again. So that is where I am on this. This is 40 count Pyrite by Cedar River Linen with all of the called for threads, 1 strand over 2. And again, not the greatest of progress, but I'm super glad I found the mistake when I did. I don't have that much stitched, so I found it, got it frogged out, and now I can move on. Let's talk WIPGO calls for May. So I have a free printable download on my blog. It's down in that right sidebar, same place you can find the Patriotic Pair bonus piece and the 250 tag. And I have got mine filled out here. I need to update it. but it doesn't matter. So it's all filled out. And then I have an updated list, which will be updated by the time this video goes up, with the May polls on here as well. And they are 15, the numbers 15 and 18. So my 15 and 18, I don't know why I didn't have the right number on this bag, is another piece I have not started. I'm really irritated. Really irritated. I might not start this one. I don't want to start anything else, especially with Market Mania. And that's kind of where I'm coming with the WIPGO, is that I'm learning that what would works best for me is having something already started. So 15 is Pink Coat Santa by Teresa Kogut, and I think I am going to say no. I'm not going to work on it. And instead, I'm going to work on the other call this month, which just work on it more, or work on one of the previous calls, whatever. And that is the Mary Mary Pin Keep by Stacy Nash, which I have had on my list to stitch the last 2 years. Have not gotten very far on it at all. I mean, the most pitiful start, you guys, the most pitiful start. So let me show you this. I haven't picked it up. I didn't iron it either. I just pulled it straight out of the bag. So this is where I'm at. What I'm going to do instead is I'm going to spend double time on it this month instead of starting Pink Coat Santa. I just feel extraordinarily overwhelmed with the amount of new starts I already had planned this month, with the Market Mania, with my Tomato SAL. And so I feel like that's a better use of my time, is just working on this one more. I am stitching this on 40 count Patriots Brew by R&R with, I don't know if it's all the called for colors or not. It looks like it, I think. No, it's not. I remember now. Let me pull my paper out. I thought I wrote on here. I'm sure I have. So I have some overdyes that I swapped out for some of the DMCs in this piece. And I will list all these as I'm working on it. But I love this piece so much. I've loved it for 2 years. And it is just time to get this one done. So here's what it looks like. And I have like nothing on this. I have a needle still in here. That is so embarrassing. So I'm going to work on this one double time. You know, here's how I feel about it. My whip board, my rules. And I just don't have the brain power capacity. I have too many other things going on to try to figure out. I don't have fabric or threads pulled for Pink Coat Santa either. I'm really irritated with myself about that whole thing. Any of the charts that were new, not any of them. There are some that have the threads and I could swap, but I think I'm just going to do this. And if I want to, maybe I can work on last month's or any of the other previous months. I'm okay with it. So that is it for Christmas WIPGO and WIPs this week. Let's go ahead and talk about Spring Mingle and my NEEDLEBUG class. Spring Mingle is May 15th through the 17th, and it is a virtual event put on by Lindy Stitches. I am teaching the NEEDLEBUG beginner friendly wool applique class, and we will be making this adorable ladybug needle book. Kits have been restocked as of filming this video and editing. There are still a few kits left. So if you've been on the fence, if you've been waiting for a kit, grab your kit now. When you sign up for class, I do also provide a full list of supplies for this. If you want to kit it up yourself, I know I've heard from a couple of you who are kitting it up yourself. You either have wool in your stash that you can use. You want to change the colors, which is amazing. So definitely grab your favorites. I will be telling you what I'm using, but please feel free to make it your own. You know me, no rules. We are going to learn how to put together this needle book. I will be sharing step-by-step instructions in class if you signed up for the class. The welcome email tells you the supplies used and gives you a few tips and links and things for supplies. It does not give you the pattern. The pattern is going to go out to those registered for the class this next week. Instructions will not be available until class time. So just kind of an FYI, I want you to be able to have plenty of time to print off your pattern or the templates if you need to. Instructions will be provided during class. There will be a full PDF that you can download and print or view at your leisure as well. And of course, you have 30 days from the class to watch it or to catch up and watch it. Now, as I mentioned in several of my other videos, you probably will not get the full needle book done during class because there are a lot of steps and I will be skipping repetitive steps. For example, I will stitch one full wing for you during class, but I will be pulling in the second fully finished wing. You will see this exact project though assembled during class. It's just to make the class more efficient. I will be going ahead and kind of having a few pieces finished off, and I'll be able to bring those in and then start with the next step. And that's just to make everything flow and work well for class time. So this is our little needle book. I have tucked some little embroidery scissors in a little pocket here, end weaver, an unpicker, a little pin from just another button company. All of those things are not included. I also adorned it with a little bulb pin and some buttons and some needles, which also are not included in the kit. Those are all just things from my stash that I thought would be fun and cute in the needle book. So that is the NEEDLEBUG needle book. And of course, that is for Spring Mingle at Lindy Stitches. Grab your ticket. We would love to see you at the Spring Mingle. Okay, so let's talk a little in Naval Vision, and then we are going to talk about getting organized. A little in Naval Vision. Fat Quarter Shop sent me some fun things that I want to share with you guys. So first up, what I'm super excited about, their newest quilted clippies. So if you love the alpha clippies, these are another fabulous addition to that. These are the quilty clippies. And they work so good to hold your blocks together, to hold your piecing and things together. They come in a wonderful little storage box. Absolutely love these so much. They can hold up to 30 layers of fabric. They have textured grip for easy handling, and they're perfect for so many things. They're the same size and sturdy grip as alpha clippies, just without the letters and numbers, so you can mix and match these really, really easily. Absolutely love these. These retail for $24.98, and I think these make a great gift. I love these. This is one of my favorite things Fat Quarter Shop has come out with this year for quilters, and it just super excited to add those to my stash. Then they did send some of their new embroidery patterns. So these are embroidery patterns by Cassidy Grace for It's So Emma, and Cassidy Grace is Lori Holt's daughter. And here are the three patterns. I believe there's 3 of them that are now available at Fat Quarter Shop. Super pretty. We have Wildflower Bouquet, Blooming Pansies, and Ribbon Garden. Really, really pretty. I would love to try these. I don't really do embroidery, but I am very intrigued by it, and I think it's beautiful. So we have those. The latest in Lori Holt's hometown neighborhood chart is here. And this one has giant tulips next to it. So pretty. That's the newest cross stitch. Then we have a couple of quilt patterns. We have Potted Herbs and we have Heritage Heart and Home, both by Kim Deal. And those are the products from Fat Quarter Shop. Thank you so much, Fat Quarter Shop, for sending all of these goodies, and get these. Just saying. I love, love, love them and think they are phenomenal. And I will be using them this summer for a couple of quilt-alongs I'm participating in with Fat Quarter Shop. So excited. So, getting organized. I bought this. I have bought some of the expanding rods for my closet. And while they're fine, if you bump them, like they are holding the fabric fine, but I have bumped them twice and the whole rod has come down just to give extra space for hanging, because obviously the project bags don't fill up as much room as what clothing would take up. And so I wanted to expand how much stuff I can hang in there. Well, since the expanding rods that I've gotten, I have not loved, I did get this, and it is a rod that looks like this that you can hang to make more space. So I'm going to assemble this and try to hang it up, and I'm going to show you guys, and then I'm going to show you how I'm changing the labeling and system for my fabric and how I am dividing it with these awesome little dividers that I'm also just printing little labels for. So let's go ahead and build this rod. Okay, so these are the plastic bags, hanging bags that I use, and I absolutely love. I have been swapping out the tags that I used to staple to these. I've been printing on just address labels. I will fill out a whole sheet of them with what they are, and then I just stick them to here. They also are really easy to remove, like if I need to switch them out. I put the company name, the dyer name, the color, and then the count. And that way I am also putting them in alphabetical order, whether they're a color or a neutral. I keep all the color fabric together by count and then in rainbow order, Roy G. Biv. I also keep all the neutrals together and I have them alphabetical by dyer and then count. Now within alphabetical, if I have multiple fiber on a whims, I don't go by that. I only go alphabetical by company, not the individual color. And that's just, for me, that's what works the best. And then to divide everything, I have these wonderful little plastic hanging dividers, and I'm putting 36 by color, 36 neutral, 40 by color, 40 neutral. That way I know where to go. I also have 46, and then I have some 32 and some other random things. I'm not going to have one for everything. It might just say miscellaneous. Anyway, I'm going to show you how this looks in the closet. That new hanging organizer, I'm buying another one. It's fantastic. No hardware, no extra holes in the wall or anything like that. Okay, so let's talk closet. It's clearly not organized yet, except for this part, which looks pretty good. And I've started my floss wall, but I had to get another connector for the third panel that goes down here. And so it's not really where it's supposed to be. Let's talk this section here. So the connector bar that I was talking about goes here, which doubled my hanging space. And these two sections are my linen. 36 is all up here, and it starts with neutral since that's probably what I stitch with the most. And then it goes to the color, and you can see my little divider tab so I know where that starts. I actually had enough there that I did bring it down to this row, so there's just a few colors here. And then it goes in to my 40 neutral, 40 color, and then 46 neutral. I will have a few additional linens that I'm going to put at the end that are some 32s. It's very, very small. And this row had a lot less space. So visually, that just worked how it worked for me. And then on this bottom rack down here, I'm not going to do an extender on this because I don't want to dig around down here on the floor. I'll just use that space for storage eventually. But these are like WIPs or kitted projects, both. And then in the very back, there's extra hanging storage bags for when I have new linen or projects or whatever. I have kind of gone through the WIPs in paired and kitted projects, and I've either unkitted some things. I need to go through and be kind of ruthless again and pare that down even more. But for now, that's it. I ordered more of these because I'm going to divide this by season so that I can easily find it. It is in seasonal order. But I like those little dividers. They make it really, really easy. They look like this. I had a couple of them left, so I will put a couple of those in here. Well, one of them is for the 32 count fabric or the miscellaneous fabric, but I'm going to put those in between. And then I did get, so this hanging bar here, it is narrow enough that it will fit here as well. So I got another one to put here for extra space. That's probably like where extra storage bags, or I don't know yet. Something will go here. Actually, I'm going to keep the extra storage bags back in the corner where I don't need them where I don't need them, I don't want to root around for projects back there because this is my huge roll of quilt batting. But it's nice and out of the way in here. But what I think here, so this is like ribbon kitted up for my shop, and it's in hanging bags, so it's easy for us to find. It may get moved down, I don't know. But what I think I'm going to do is I'll give a little bit more room to the kitted up projects, or I'll put kitted up over here and leave WIPs over here, something like that. But I do love this hanging bar, and it does give so much more room to what's in here. So for now, that's kind of the progress that's been made this week. And again, my floss is going to live here in the closet, which I love. So I just need to reorganize it. I don't think I put them back in the same order. And I've got 2 of the IKEA, I think it's the Skatus pegboards. I probably said that wrong. The third one is actually sitting here on my sewing desk. Haha. And needs to be put up there. I did take all of my color and cotton floss off. I don't know if I'm putting it back. To be determined. Okay, so this week's progress is linen organized, and I'm so happy. And WIPs kitted up projects organized. Again, so happy because I think this looks really nice. Organized, easy to find in this little walk-in closet. Thank you so much for joining me this week for my episode of Stitching with Nicole and catching up with everything I've been stitching on. Let me know if you're doing Market Mania, what you decided to start. And I will see you guys all back here next week for another episode. Have a wonderful, stitchy, creative week, and I'll see you later. Bye. I do have an FFO. I have 2 FFOs to share with you, and I will be using them this summertime for a couple of stitch alongs I'm going to